Greetings, everyone. Welcome to our channel, where we dive into people's stories and take time to reflect on how you would act if you found yourself in a similar situation. Today, we have something special for you: 5 captivating stories that will stir your emotions and make you think. From tales of fate and mystery to real events that are hard to explain, each story is unique and unforgettable. So get comfortable, relax, and let's embark on this journey together. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any new videos. Please leave a comment on what you'd like to change in the video format. And what topic should we cover in the next episode? Story 1: maybe sometimes it's worth forgiving? A long story of a fool. I ended up marrying young. I proposed out of love, simply realizing that I wanted to be with her and no one else. I was always well fed and cared for. She's a good homemaker, smart, takes care of herself, and is careful with her words. She never asked for gratitude, and I never thought it was necessary. I took it all for granted. 2 years later, everything started to feel mundane. It didn't help that my wife was my first and only. So, I cheated. I immediately realized my mistake and felt disgusted with myself. I came home in the morning, and my dear wife, with her face swollen from tears, looked at me and understood everything without words. She didn't scream or blame me. She just said, "Don't speak, and don't even think about touching me." That was it. At that moment, I wanted to hold her like never before, to fall on my knees and beg for forgiveness. But I know her. She would have seen me as pathetic and simply left, and I couldn't allow that. So I lay down on our old couch in the living room and decided I would win her back, no matter what it took. At first, it was very difficult. To her, I didn't exist. We lived together, but she cooked only for herself, washed only her clothes, and of course, we slept separately. I brought all the money home, never stayed out late, and even started cleaning on weekends, which I had never done before. Then I started surprising my wife. I didn't give things directly to her, but left them in plain sight. Flowers, chocolates, movie tickets, and other little things. At first, she didn't even touch them. But after a while, she started putting the flowers in water, occasionally taking a few chocolates with her tea. It felt like balm for my soul, and I patiently waited for her to be ready to at least acknowledge me. And I waited. She started talking about household matters, then began cooking, and even saw me off to work, just like before. One day, with fear in my heart, I took her hand, and she didn't pull away. We walked like school kids, and then she let me kiss her. After some time, she invited me back to our bed, saying it was wrong for a husband and wife to sleep apart. Now everything is back to normal. I continue to give my beloved gifts for no reason, grateful to her just for being by my side. Tonight I came home tired, found borscht on the table, and a freshly ironed shirt for tomorrow hanging in the room. I'll finish writing this post and go thank the best woman in the world. Story 2: thank you, Dad. It was a tough day. I had a fight with my husband, and my mood was terrible. I decided to visit the dearest person to me, my dad, at the cemetery. While I poured out my heart, I didn't notice how dark it got, and I had to walk back to my car through the forest. It was dark and scary. I mentally asked my dad to guide me, and suddenly, out of nowhere, a dog appeared, followed by a few more. They surrounded me in a circle, and though I was frightened at first, they simply moved forward silently, and I instinctively followed them. Once we reached the gate, the stray dogs dispersed. Thank you, Dad. Story 3: mother-in-law. I have a Labrador named Max. 7 years ago, my boyfriend, now husband, gave him to me for my birthday. I absolutely adore this fluffy dog. He's the kindest, most affectionate, understanding, and intelligent dog in the world. We've been through thick and thin together. 2 months ago, I got pregnant. The baby was long awaited, and everyone was thrilled, overjoyed. But there was one big but. From the beginning, my mother-in-law kept insisting that a house with a baby shouldn't have a dog. She brainwashed me every time we met, always looking for symptoms of diseases in him, to the point of absurdity. My husband would tell me, just hold on. The baby will be born, and she'll calm down, but that wasn't the case. One day, I came home from work and found Max lying on the floor, moaning. I was sobbing as I grabbed my heavy dog. I was 2 months pregnant, dragged into the car, and broke every traffic rule as I raced to the clinic. The vet diagnosed poisoning. She had tried to poison him. She didn't even bother to hide it. The doctors fought for my friend's life for 24 hours and managed to save him. Max survived, but my baby didn't. The next day I had a miscarriage. I don't know what she was aiming for, but my husband forbade her from calling or visiting us. Now she has neither a grandchild nor a son. Story 4: Eternal Loneliness. My parents died in a car accident when I was 9 years old. I miraculously survived. After that, it was the orphanage, where there were daily horrible abuses. I shudder at the thought of every minute there. I tried my best. I finished school with a gold medal, got a higher education, found a good job, and she appeared in my life. Wonderful, with blue eyes. I loved her. Then I was diagnosed with a terrible disease. I fought. I lost 20 kilograms, although I never had extra weight, went bald from numerous chemotherapy sessions. She worried, was scared, and never left my side. I lived in fear for almost 3 years. But the doctors had simply made a mistake with the diagnosis, and then I had to be treated for the effects of chemotherapy. She gave birth to our child and then died. Our daughter was her copy. My reason for living: I remember her first steps, her first words. She was beautiful, an excellent student, a ray of sunshine like her mother. Today marks 1 month since she died. I'm alone again. Story 5: I will never work with children again. I decided to earn some extra money in my last year of university by working as a nanny. A family I knew hired me to spend the day with their 5-year-old child. The house also had a brother and sister, aged 12 to 13. They were mostly independent but played with me as well. The whole day went great. We got along, and in the evening, they started playing a game with a sack, where they would stuff each other in the sack and then get out. I agreed to play along and help them. Then it was my turn. They stuffed me into the sack, which was tight, but it turned out to be smaller than expected, so they tied it tightly around my neck, even using tape on top for extra security. I tried to get out, but after a while I realized I couldn't. I was stuck. I tried again, and in the end I begged them to let me out because I couldn't do it myself, but they thought it was funny and didn't release me. I tried to free myself and got angry, starting to demand and threaten. In the end, the older child suggested taping my mouth shut. And yes, they taped my mouth with the same tape, and I couldn't do anything because I was in the sack. At that moment, I was in complete shock. I started to kick and growl at them furiously, but they just left me like that. In the end, I sat there for an entire hour until their mom came home. And there I was, in the sack, with my mouth taped shut. They freed me, and I was red with anger, and my mouth was literally red from the tape and furious. They thought it was funny. Anyway, she never hired me again, and I never worked with children again.